sitting on my paperwork. Cat's sitting on my paperwork, and I got all this coffee here I'm drinking.
On that note, welcome to a new year, a new month, but not a new show. We're back. The closing table is live for 2025. Brought to you by NextHome Brandywine. And as you can see, we have our good friend always coming to us live from Dallas, Texas, with his My Coffee. We got Hub down below. We got always the man with the master plan for all your real estate needs, Dan Pizzi of Next Home Brandywine, and myself. And coming up soon, we are going to have Sean and Kat from Roma Deli, the owners. I can't wait to talk to them. And they are Delco Jesus approved. So you got to love that, right?
I'm a big deli guy, man. We do not have delis out here, and that's going to be part of the conversation.
They don't have them here.
They don't know what the hell a deli is, and they don't know how to cut meat out here. And I went wild until I finally succumbed to it out here, and there's a couple spots that are half decent. But we're big deli people. Delco people, Miss Sandy's Country Made back in the day, and then Mike. So I'm a huge – and you know what? We're going to talk about it with them. The deli's like a family. When you go to the deli, you see your family. You say hello to the people. They cut your lunch meat. They know you. So it's more than just a deli in Delco. It's that family. It's your neighborhood place. It's where you go to get your odds and ends, you know. So I'm interested in talking to him. Hub, I got to know about the coffee in your hand.
Okay. Again, Miss Ann, we have for some vacation rentals we have. Miss Ann orders this My Coffee here. So it's a Mike Lindell coffee, very patriotic, and her nickname for me. One of her nicknames is Taste Buds, because she can taste things that I can't taste. In food, ice cream, how creamy it is, all that kind of stuff. So she has.
That's a recommended product on the podcast. Mike Lindell's My Coffee. I'm going to try it.
Yeah, and he's got pillows,
like flavored coffee. Is it just regular one style or?
I think this is just one, but the Rudy Giuliani coffee, now that's got the bean ones where you have to grind them yourself. She's got that too. And then she's got another, just a regular one that's already grinded from the Rudy Giuliani coffee.
So there's no Maxwell House or Dunkin' Donuts or Starbucks coffee going on?
No, because this stuff is competitive, and this stuff is actually better, and it's relatively the same price, and it comes right to your door.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's why we bring Hub on.
Well, that's why we are entrepreneurs in the modern age here. It's because that's what this is you got to have your products. And so you come up with your product, and everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it's highly entrepreneurs. Go ahead. Hub.
Yes. It's highly inspirational. These guys coming up with their coffee and hot sauces and all this kind of stuff.
Hey, another thing we have to hit on a Mrs. Renfro's one of these months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our hot sauce for the show, Mrs. Renfro's from Texas. Let's hit a couple real estate things real quick before we jump on with our special guest. January, it's the dog days of winter for real estate agents. Here's what I'm noticing. Like Lisa just put in an offer today on a property in Downingtown. It was a rehabbed property. And it was a very reasonable price point, like $260,000, which is well below the median for a twin in a good zip code. And there was a lot of activity. So what I'm noticing is, what can people afford? And if they feel like it's affordable, they're going to go and bid on it. There's plenty of buyers still out there ready to buy. So we're in this situation now to where, in my opinion, I've been doing this 19 years, the prices are out of control, out of control, off the chart. And the interest rates are stuck at 7. So when you do the math, we were just talking before we came live, I have a client looking in the $385,000 range, and there's not much inventory in that range. You're looking at $3,400 a month with your taxes between $6,000 and $7,000, which is about average. So you're looking at $3,400 a month on a mortgage with minimum down payment. So right now, there's some things to work out. The buyer demand is still there at a price that people can afford. And I think what I'm seeing is coming out of the gate that people are pushing the prices, and I don't know how much further we can push these prices at 7% interest rates. There's no balance in the market.
If the other expenses weren't jacked up so high,
Yep,
it wouldn't be as
correct.
much of an issue. But and not just the other expenses in the general economy, and then the other expenses that are associated with the house, including the insurance and all that other stuff.
And you know what, Hub? I sit with people and review that, because you might be approved for X, but when you add in all those factors, it might really put you upside down to where you actually can't afford it or shouldn't be buying it. Because like you said, we talked about insurance briefly. We had Tomlin on talking about insurance. Everything's going up: homeowners insurance, car insurance, grocery costs, utility costs. So to me, make sure you sit with your real estate professional. We're humans over houses. It's not bullshit at NextHome Brandywine. We are going to sit with you. When I went to see, are they ready?
Not yet. You're good. You're good.
Oh, when I went to see a buddy of mine, I've sold the family about 6 or 7 houses over the years. His daughter got married, a beautiful baby, and they're looking to buy a house. I was there 2 hours. We reviewed everything. We're going back to a consultative approach to selling. We reviewed, like Hub is saying, every detail. So when we start to hunt, everybody's on the same page. Everybody knows where they want to be price-wise. And everybody understands all these other factors that are involved. And you know why they hired me? They had another agent. They had a friend. And the lady kept trying to shove them into a house without looking out for their best interest. This is from them, not me. So my buddy James told them, I told you before you called Dan, he is going to give it to you straight. He's professional. He knows what he's talking about. He does a lot of business, and he's going to guide you and be an advocate for you. That's the difference. Beg, just give me a heads up when they're ready to go. But just quickly, I did just get an email from James Dwiggins, president of NextHome, officially announcing my award for this year, Premier Sales. Appreciate it.
That's
I do. It's you know how hard it is to hustle this thing. I did just under $6 million in sales and 18 units. And in the email basically says it's an extra special achievement because of the change in the market with the commission caps and the restructuring of the real estate industry and everything that's going on. And, I do spend money on like advertising with minor league sports teams and stuff. All my business comes from sphere of influence, repeat business, family and friends that say, hey, straightforward, honest real estate, old school, new school technology. It's a lost art. I mean, and everyone's hurting so bad. It's a shame that a client would say to me, hey, they were just trying to shove me in the house. And it was too much. It just didn't fit.
Do people, when you explain, I mean, because you, like you said, you are truly old school with new school technology. When you talk to other agents or potential agents that want to join NextHome Brandywine, are they kind of shocked that you still roll that way and you make it work? It's got to shock me.
It's almost impossible. We just brought a new agent on, Antonia. She's brand new and got 2 kids. She's a nurse. She's out of Drexel Hill. But we had that conversation. I said, I'm going to see. I said again, same thing, right? Trained under Dave Stinson, same stories. My stories get old. It's just the way we do business. Real estate used to be a more personal business. It wasn't always about the money. It was about you helping someone get into their house. It was the roof over the head. It was their family home. I don't know how I do it, babe, with the factors against us. But there's no bullshit. We work on zero bullshit. Yeah. It's straightforward, honest. I tell you the truth. I'm Hub, our word, learned. I know what the hell I'm doing. I study my craft. Like Hub, when you play that guitar, the detail that goes into playing a musical instrument and the amount of time that it takes to hone your craft, you can speak to it. There's a difference from one person to the next on how much you want to get granular in the nitty gritty of being better. You used to teach the classes.
Yeah, but there's a thing that, and this is, I'm not trying to get off the subject, but there's a thing that a commentator on Hugh Hewitt, he's on the Salem Radio Network, and he was talking about how what are the qualifications to be president? And that could be for any job. And he's talking about being learned, exactly what you're talking about. And he said the main thing is you have to be able to be briefed by your people that are briefing you, and you have to have a whole ton of information. And then you have to be able to take that information and make the right decisions with that information. And it's not just a little bit of information. You have to have a lot of information.
So when you're dealing in real estate, how much information is too much? Like, so like to your point, and I tell people I'm going to give you all the information you need to make an educated decision in your real estate.
Yeah, but see, it's also not about how much information. It's about the right information and the key information. And then also to be able to make a decision and not just, it has to be the right decision with the information.
And you know what? Sometimes you're giving people like saying this pitfall could happen and it's kind of a negative thing, but you just want to make sure that they are aware of it and that we can avoid that pitfall in the process of the transaction. And like you said, I give it to them just so they see the bigger picture, but it's pertinent information to ensure people have it in their head what may happen at certain points in transactions and what we try to avoid.
So right now with this, are we kind of defining the word learning? Sort of, you know the key information, but you have a whole lot of information too, and you also have to have a whole lot of current information that you keep on top of.
And I'll tell you this, and Bay, tell us,
is that right?
There. Yeah, correct. And I'll tell you this, like my friend that owns Opus Elite, Mark Gatta, they have an exceptional office over there. He always says he surrounds himself with, you're a little piece of the 5 people you surround yourself with on a daily basis. And he always talks about, my wife talks about this too, about being around people that make you better, that make you think. Like you, Hub, like I'm sure your friendship with Bay. Sometime I know Bay thinks you're a pain in the ass, but you're giving him
sure.
a real friend advice at times, right? So
yeah, but he gives me real friend advice too. He gives me real friend.
I agree, but sometimes you'll say something from an analytical perspective that might say, "Oh, that's kind of annoying. I don't want to hear that." But to me, I have thick enough skin at this point. I'd rather hear it so I can learn from it. Like in our business, we're in sales. So if we don't sell, we don't make any money. So I have to be the best salesperson, well-rounded I can be in order to hit that 6 million, because that's top 20% with 44,000 agents in our region. You have to be learned to get to a level of success.
So are we kind of like coming up with more definitions for the word learned when we're talking about?
I agree. We're going to make a list.
Okay.
For one of these shows.
So,
but it's very important.
Like the undeniable facts of being learned.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. Like Dave Stinson used to give you so many, like I would call them parables, and he would give you past experiences to help you in the current experience you were working with. Like, like I said that time about just the electric wire on those row homes that we have here, and when people put decks up, the electric service cables were touching hazards because the deck was raised, and the electric service cables were across the backs of the houses, and the electric companies weren't going to move them. So you needed a workaround. So they used to put these plastic covers on. We had an inspector one time say, you have to move all the electric service cables. The electric company's not coming out and moving a whole row of home service cable.
But I think that your thing is to try and help people make a decision on a property that they can afford and that they also will be happy with after they've bought it.
No, right. And you go through all these different scenarios like that in these transactions. But my wife sometimes says, sometimes I think you don't want to sell houses. I want to make sure I'm putting people in and that there's no buyer's remorse for the best of everybody's ability. Because honestly, for me, the way I tick is I get my referrals from that. If I do right by you and I'm straight with you and honest, are we good, Bay? They're ready to go there?
They just popped on, yeah.
Oh, good.
And you know what? You're going to be happy too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very important piece. Everybody, at NextHomeBrandywine.com, we're going to be bringing Kat and Sean on from Roma Deli on MacDade Blvd. Hey, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't their location the old sporting goods store? Am I wrong, Bay? Or is that next to it?
Oh, I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Let's bring them on.
Yeah, but that place has been there a long time.
Yeah, and that sporting goods store went out a long time ago. There used to be I don't know if it was where they are, or the one to the right next to them, but let's find out as we bring. Here they come.
There they are, Sean and Kat from Roma Deli. Finally getting to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you too.
You too.
Thank you so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it. We're excited to talk to you. And
Thank you for having us.
It's awesome. Like I said, we always say nobody gets paid, and it's a real courtesy to have you on, and we do appreciate it very much. We've been growing the podcast, so we hopefully we get you some exposure, and we appreciate you joining us. Bay, I'll let you do a quick introduction. I'm a deli guy, so I got a ton of questions.
You got to ask that. You were just asking about the location.
Your location. There used to be. I'm from Fallcroft. Everybody knows it. There used to be originally. Now I'm out in Chester County. There used to be a sporting goods store in that corner.
And yeah, up until they actually just moved their location to New Jersey, because that's pretty much where all their business is now.
Were they next to you? Were you next to them?
On top of us.
I knew it was there. Were they?
When he bought the brick and mortar, and
so they own the entire building, upstairs, downstairs, everything.
I thought so.
And in 2005, the old owner had purchased the building from them, opened up the deli on the downstairs, and still rented to them upstairs. They were still there. They had their own access point for going upstairs.
Did they close their storefront, right? They did more wholesale when they closed the storefront, or did they still have access to upstairs as like a retail? But didn't they get away from that?
They still had access upstairs. They actually just moved out in the end of December. That's actually where we're at right now.
They took over.
Located our office.
That's awesome. See, Bay, I know all those spots down there. You're in a great spot there. It's a very busy corridor along there. So I moved out in 2002 to Chester County. And what I found when I moved out here is...
Just kidding.
Listen, I always say if there's a war, I'm going back to the Delaware County side.
Right.
It's a different mentality out here. But when we moved out here, the things that were the most different for me was the delis, the pizza parlors, and Swiss. They opened a Swiss Farms in on 113 there in like Eagleview. It went out of business. So think about that. The people didn't know how to use it. They didn't know what the hell it was out here. So very strange.
Grocery store.
I'm telling you, it's so funny. They never got it out here. And the biggest thing, the pizza sucked. And because I was a big Lafayette pizza guy in Fallcroft, and the delis, non-existent to the delis that we know, like Roma and Delaware County.
Right.
So, like, for example, and I'll get everybody in on this conversation, when I was in Fallcroft, Sandy owned the Country Made in the Del Cross Shopping Center for years. Then Sandy sold to Mike, and we always had that neighborhood deli. And Mike has 5 or 6 delis now. His kids actually went to college. They're out running the delis. But what we find in Chester County is they don't know how to slice lunch meat. They call this stuff chipped, which is disgusting. The meats are too thick. It's disgusting. I actually get mad. I have to control myself from screaming at people and say that I like to throw the meat at them half. I can't eat it. It's gross. So, and we were talking, and we'll bring everybody in here, but we were talking about how awesome the neighborhood deli is and how it's like a family, and you know your customers, you know what they like. They come in for certain things sometime on a weekly basis, like we used to do the Country Made.
I mean, we definitely do have that clientele base, like we pride ourselves in like people coming in and they feel like their family, not like we're acting.
Their first name, their last name,
their
brother's
order.
names, their mom's names.
Hey, Sean, isn't that like when I came out here to one pizza parlor that I never went in because the guy looked at me like I had 4 heads the first time I walked in, and I didn't feel that. I like you to know if I'm coming in and spending my money, I like you to, even if you hate me, I like you to at least know my name and know I'm coming in and spending my money. Isn't that a big part of owning a local business? Getting to know the community, good or bad, getting to know people's names, and having that kind of a business, kind of that family atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely have those customers where you come in, you know everything about them. You're like, what's up? You have a conversation for 20 minutes. Then you got other customers and, they can be a problem all the time. And, their names, you make them feel good and whatnot. As they're leaving, you're like, whisper.
Yes. So what's your main Do you do a lot of sliced meats, or it's
Oh, yeah.
mostly steak?
Oh yeah.
So you're still doing a lot of sliced meats. Let's talk about the thickness of the meat, which drives me nuts out here.
Listen, we
I won't be able to
cut
read the newspaper through it.
it. Yeah. We
That's what I'm
cut
saying.
ours pretty thin by default. Now you have customers that'll ask what number was that cut on. So the next time they'll come in, they're like, "Hey, I want my cheese cut on 13, or I want my pickle ham. I want it cut on number 7." You know, and we'll gladly, you know, accommodate whatever it is that you want. Like, we want to aim to please you. You know, we want you to come back and support us. I mean, let's face it, it's Delco. You got delis down the street. You got Anna's and James. You got Mike and Anna's. You got Fallcroft, Major's Deli.
Yes,
You got Sweeties across the street. There's plenty of love for the small businesses, for everybody to spread some love, right? You know,
So
small businesses is what keeps it going. So if somebody says, I want my lunch meat like extra thin, I'll write thin on the ticket, and then I'll write show next to it, just so like the slicer that's slicing the lunch meat knows, hey, you know, this customer may be in between of how we cut it, so let's show them. And we show them, and they like that. You know, they appreciate that.
let me ask you this: how do you differentiate yourself from the competition? We got some noise. Is there anybody with some background noise? Who's hitting the background noise? I know we got some.
I got cats making noise here. You want me to go move them?
We got to cut those cats. That's
Here,
all right. Tell me to be quiet, huh?
I don't know. It might make more noise. Let me go take care of this. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
How do you differentiate yourself from the competition? Just like in our business, like you have so many good delis, like you said, and to be successful, how do you guys approach that?
I mean, you know, like you said, treating the customers like their family. I'm forever like, hey, you want to sample this? Hey, you want to
There we go.
you know, you want to sample a piece of this? Like, you know, we make our homemade meatballs now. We make chicken salad, tuna salad, coleslaw. My husband just started making his own homemade corned beef brisket, which our chiropractor came in. And, you know, if you can get a Jewish person to say that your corned beef brisket's top notch, you know, you got a good quality meat right there. So, you know, he was like, he took it to an Eagles game that he goes to all the time. He tailgates down there all the time. And, you know, they were like, where'd you get this corned beef? He's like, Roma Deli, MacDade Blvd, you know? So, I mean, and we offer samples of anything. We're trying to make a lot of homemade products, like one being the balsamic chicken salad that I'm making. Everybody's like, oh, look at your eyes right there. Yeah. So it's not like average salad. You get your sweet and then you get your savory on it. People are like, oh, I don't know about that. And I'm like, taste it before you don't try it, you know? And my girlfriend had ordered like $800 worth of food, and I was just trying to get the product out there. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to send you this tray, but it's on me. You know, I just want to get the product out there. So I sent her a tray. We got a customer off of it. A customer that comes in and she's like, where's the balsamic chicken salad? And I'm like, I was throwing out more than I was selling. I was like, so I'm really only making it and putting it up as a special. And we were with our busy time at the time. So I really couldn't, like, I was concentrating more on our business and then putting a new product out, right? So I made it and I texted her and I told her I made it. She went and made a post on Facebook. Last Thursday, we made 45 pounds of it approximately, with all the ingredients and stuff that went into it. Sold out by Monday.
Whoa.
See what I mean?
By Monday.
That exposure, just that exposure.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I told her she stopped making the balsamic chicken salad, because it wasn't selling. I said people aren't buying it because they don't know what it is. I for one would never know what it was if she hadn't made it.
And he doesn't like chicken salad.
I've never seen something like that in a store before. So I said, why don't we make it once a week, throw it on sale, and it's while supplies last. It's here till it's here.
Right.
And it's working.
Till next week.
It's working.
So then after that post, then all of a sudden we had to up our game because we were just selling out and you know.
And you know, One more question for Sean down there, that people are creatures of habit and they don't like to try new stuff. They're like meat and potatoes, old school, like a lot of people. So it's kind of hard to introduce new things. Kat, by you doing that and the way you did it to get the exposure, look, you're 45 pounds gone. So sometime that's the way things work. Let's bring in Bay and Hub here. I know you guys have some questions.
So a couple interesting things that I found out. Sean, you actually worked there as a kid.
Yes.
Did you have like any like thoughts as a kid, like, maybe one day I'm going to own this place, or I'm going to open my own deli somewhere?
So when I was 10, my dad pushed me. He was working a full-time job cutting lawns on the side. And so by the time I hit 10, I'd helped him around the house and at customers' houses and whatnot. But by the time I hit 10, I was like, all right, I'm ready. Let's do this. And so he gave me my first yard. He would do all the weed whacking and whatnot, because at 10, you're still a little too young to do the weed whacking. And I would cut the lawn, blow off the sidewalk, and whatnot. And from 10 until once I turned 16 and got my driver's license, that's when it blew up. But I couldn't stand sitting in the house for 4 months, and I didn't really want to invest in plowing when I don't know if it's going to snow or not, and I didn't know if that's what I was going to do the rest of my life or not. If I was going to do it the rest of my life, then sure, I'll put out the money for the plow equipment, but with the insecurity of there actually being business there, I decided to not buy the plowing equipment. And I just got so bored for 4 months sitting in the house doing nothing. So I ended up getting a job here just in the winter months of the year, just something to get me out of the house. And that's how I met the old owner. And I was always joking with him every year. I was like, oh, yeah, let me know when you're going to sell the place, and then you can lend me a check too, pre-signed. I'll write whatever number you want. That was the ongoing joke. And then one day he comes to me, and I'm in college at the time, and I crammed my college into 2 days a week so I could fit as many lawns in as possible. Couldn't find good help. You find someone to start work, and they give you a good 2 weeks, and then they're leaving you.
Right.
Ride by yourself. So I said, screw it. I'm done looking for people. I'm doing it myself. I was cutting 150 lawns by myself, plus odd jobs in between.
Wow.
And the old owner comes to me, says, I'm ready to retire. You want to buy the place? And I thought he was joking. Like, I don't have money for this. So my dad just paid off his house. So he took a mortgage out. I had enough money saved with grass cutting. That was my working capital. And it actually became a thing. So we sat down and actually made out a good deal.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's a great story.
20 years old he was.
Now the story gets even better, and I'm waiting to see Dan and Hub's face when I say this one. So, Kat, you were a customer.
I was.
And now this is what you call customer service, because this is how they met and got married.
So she wanted a special bologna. It was a German bologna. Actually, the brand is Wunderbar.
Wunderbar bologna.
Wunderbar.
It's one of the best bolognas out there. If I'm just saying, and I'm not paid to advertise this Wunderbar, but I'll take one.
So she was coming in every week flirting with me, and I'm all in theory. I flirt with any woman that comes in here and flirts with me because it just brings them in more often. They're not getting the attention at home, or they're whatever. They come in here, they feel good, have a good time. They're going to keep on coming in and spending more money and enjoying their stay too, instead of going someplace that people are just going to say, what else? Next.
Right.
Have a little personality, have a little fun. So
I think that's what brings your customers coming in. It really does.
Yeah. She was flirting with me every week, and one day she requested the Wunderbar bologna. And I was a real stickler back then that if I was away, I had to be on the cameras like 24/7. My dad asked me, he's building a house up in the Poconos right now from scratch. Wow. He asked me for some help with some concrete work, so I went up for the weekend. And I happened to log on to my cameras. I happened to see that she was in the store.
Mm-hmm. He just waited till, because I'm a creature of habit where I go do my grocery shopping, then I'll stop at the deli, and then I'll head home because it was like in my path to go home.
And so I happened to see her, so I called the deli, and I'm like, "Yeah, put the customer Kat on the line." So she's like, "What?" So she was all confused.
Like, stalker.
So I was like, "Yeah, by the way, the bologna request is coming in tomorrow." So she came in the next day. She got the bologna.
But what really started our relationship was actually like right before the world shut down during COVID. So I was a single mom. They're now 27 and 19.
Okay.
Older than me.
My son's older than my husband. But I normally come in on Sundays. I came in on a Thursday and I was grabbing Kaiser rolls, and he was like, "Well, you're here on the wrong day." And I'm like, "Well, it was April 2nd, 2020." And I was like, "Well, my son wants scrapple." Well, I said I'm making scrapple egg and cheese, not my son. So he was like, "Well, I like scrapple egg and cheese." I was like, "Well, I'll bring you one back up." So, I go home, I make dinner, I clean up, I do all the mom things. And
I was actually living in the apartment above the deli at the time.
so
And I waited, didn't eat dinner, waited, expecting the sandwich to show up. And I'm like, it's like 7:30 now. All right, screw it. So I had what any bachelor would have. I had a bowl of ramen.
So then I ended up
meal.
coming back like after it closed, and they were closing earlier because of COVID. So I came back and we started having a conversation outside. And I was like, do you have a personal Facebook? I'm 42 at the time. I'm thinking he's like in his 30s. I know he's the owner of the business.
Well, that's not what you thought, because you were.
I said,
"You're what? You're 20," and I'm like 21,
and I'm like, "I'm 42." Like, oh my god, like, and I'm like, well, I mean,
but she didn't warn me. She didn't say she was 42. She didn't say she had kids. I was kind of trapped at that point.
She had a sandwich.
Yeah. I was
she got a
feeding the
sandwich.
bachelor. But then like the next week, the world shut down. I was essential at the time because I worked at Jefferson. My mom was essential. She's works with special needs individuals, adult ones. And then he was essential because he owned the business. I was like, well, we're all essential, might as well just hang out. So we would hang out and play cards and, get to know each other. And next thing I knew, a year later, I was engaged, and a year and 2 months later, we were married.
Wow. That's amazing. That's a great story.
It really is. It really is.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Hub, let's bring you in the conversation. Hub Joe from Dallas, Texas.
Well, it says that you actually are one of the only places that delivers fresh rolls. That's one of the things that it says. And it also says that you encourage customers to make custom sandwiches for them, which is unusual too.
Absolutely. Whatever you want, we'll make it. So like the way we make our hoagies here is like mayonnaise, oil, and then like your cheese, your vegetables, and then your meat on top, right? Some people don't like it that way. They want it what we call reverse or flipped. So of course you can flip, your hoagie where the vegetables are on top. And yes, our rolls are delivered every day fresh from Corporate.
Yeah, so our meal.
I was going to say, let's talk about those rolls.
That's how the old owner did it. I'm not going to change something. I'm not going to fix something that's not broke.
Don't the rolls make a big difference though? Because we had lunch truck business for 40 years in my family in Delaware County. Years ago, the Amoroso rolls were the best. Any more, the quality to me it's not the same standard. You see the difference in the Corporate roll and some of these other quality Rosa Versas and stuff. It makes a difference on your sandwich.
It does. Like, I'm not going to name the roll companies because I'm not about bashing any kind of business, but one roll company, it would look like a boomerang. You can't serve a hoagie on a roll that's shaped like a boomerang. And the other ones, on our menu, it used to be 6 inches and 12 inches, but with the bread company Corporate that we, run with now, we get 8-inch rolls and 12-inch rolls. We had 3 different bread companies, and we still get bag bread from Amoroso, but the only sandwich rolls and, loose rolls that we carry is Corporate rolls. Why? They're consistent. Every day they're consistent. If we want club roll sliced, we get them sliced. If we need a 3-foot hoagie roll for an order, obviously it's 48 hours notice, but we can order a 3-foot hoagie. We carry the Corporate tomato pie.
I was waiting to ask that question.
We carry that every single day. Every single day they're fresh and they come in. And then, at the end of the day, if we have leftover rolls, we never reuse our rolls unless we're forced to, like a snowstorm.
Right.
anything like that. At the end of the day, we do our roll count, and then we get them out to local charities, local churches that feed the homeless. We have a couple different ones that come in and pick up the rolls every day.
Let's tell Hub what the secret ingredient is in Corporate Lease sauce and their tomato pies. Anybody know what it is?
Love.
There you
And
go.
honey.
I always say it's love. Everybody's like, "What's your secret ingredient?" I'm like, capital L, capital O, capital.
Yes,
B,
that's awesome. But Hub, Corporate Police makes a great tomato pie. They put a little honey, it's a little sweeter in their sauce.
Yep.
So it's just like a square pizza. That most of the time you eat it cold with just a sauce, a little sprinkle Parmesan, but no like cheese on top type.
I used to work
pizza.
5 minutes away from their Norristown location.
Mhm.
I would, oh my Lord, I ate so much tomato pie.
Did you lose weight by going in there, Ben?
Our store takes a pie and they'll take like whatever kind of cheese they want on it, put it on top, throw it in the oven, put some spices on it, throw it in the oven and cut it up.
Beautiful.
That's awesome. Hub does a lot of research. What do we got on those papers you got in front of you, Hub?
Well, they have a couple of other specialties, and should I do both of them or just one at a time?
We do one at a time.
Okay. Well, the first one is the cheesecake pretzel.
Cheesesteak pretzel.
Yeah.
Cheesesteak pretzel.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll take the customer. You're asking what's on it.
I'm gonna excuse myself for.
Well, I know and there's actually another one too, but I mean that's something that people are really crazy over, that cheesesteak pretzel.
Okay, I had no idea that people were that crazy about it.
Well, I mean, the thing is there was basically I couldn't find as much research as I thought I might be able to, but I got some.
Okay. So the cheesesteak pretzel, we give the customer an option. We make our own homemade cheesesteak dip. So it's basically a cheese sauce that we make in-house that we mix in chopped up cheesesteak meat. Pretty simple. So we'll either smother that on top of a soft pretzel that we get from Philly Pretzel Factory, or we'll just cook up a little bit of steak, melt some cheese on it as well in the oven, and serve it that way. That would be, I'd say, the most common way that we serve it. That way it's not overwhelming with just the cheesy taste. You got both cheese and meat, like a good mixture of all flavors.
Is that an unusual item? Because I haven't ever had that before.
No, it's not
My
unusual. It's just more of like a snacky item that people would order. Not something that someone would order as a meal.
But is that mainly like a dessert type thing? Because you also have the world's greatest rice pudding.
No, I wouldn't call it a dessert. I mean, maybe dessert to me, but I'm not like
it's sort of an appetizer then?
Yes.
I could call it an appetizer, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had that before, Dan and Bay?
Oh yeah.
Rice pudding? Oh, I haven't had
No,
rice pudding now.
They cheesesteak on top of the pretzel, Bay.
No, I've never had that.
I've had it.
No.
It's good.
It's good.
It's good.
It would be good because it might have a little sweet taste and some saltiness and that kind of thing.
Well, he said cheesecake, not cheesesteak.
Yeah, he said,
I'm learning. I didn't mean to say cheesecake. I meant to say cheesesteak.
It's from Texas. We got to get him up to speed here.
You know what cheesesteak is down there?
Not really.
Actually, we do. There's a Texas chain here called Texadelphia, which has Philadelphia sandwiches with done Texas style. It is a chain in Texas.
So what's on a cheesesteak from that chain?
Peppers, onion.
Probably peppers and onions.
I don't know. Again, my wife is from up north, but I'm not. I don't know all this stuff.
Okay.
But they do have a lot of Mexican food mixed with the Philly food, and the thing is too is you've got some Cajun food. You got a Cajun hoagie that's 12 inches long, Cajun turkey.
Cajun,
Cajun turkey. Yeah, so that's
very good.
A lunch meat, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lunch meat.
That's very good. I like that.
Yeah.
Do you do a lot of hot foods?
We do. We do cutlets.
Hot roast beef, hot roast pork, pulled pork.
Meatballs.
Yeah, homemade meatballs.
I'm just going to come in there and just like live there.
I'm actually going to stop one day on my way out. I'm down there a couple days a week at least.
Well,
I pass it all the time. Yeah, we're going to definitely stop in.
We'll give you a tour because we're actually even expanding and putting in a whole new kitchen with pizza ovens, 10 burner stove, 8-foot grill, dual double fryer.
Any plans for the upstairs? It's strictly offices.
So right now
Upstairs?
it's this office. We've been dangling ideas of renting it out as like an apartment to someone, but the main problem we have is parking because we have
Yes, you're limited.
as of now 7 parking spots. But when the construction gets done, we're not going to get into that too much.
That's been going on forever.
Since Popeyes across the street, and trust me, the guys were so. I'm not even going to put the company on blast, but they were so rude to my husband. They decided to come in. Now they tore this up in September. They decided to come in December 23rd. The 23rd and the 24th are like 2 of our busiest days of the year.
And they're sitting there with a dump stop. Yeah, they have a dump truck and they're blocking 4 of my 7 spots.
No self-awareness. Disrespect to our business. No self-awareness.
The truck over on that side where you're not blocking any spots. You'll block maybe only 1 from the excavator you got there.
I had a couple spots in front of my old office, and the flower guy would pull up between 2 spots, leave all the doors open, load and unload the thing. And like no self-awareness. Like, dude, you're blocking the front of my building for an hour.
That's our busiest day. We had people literally like parking all over the place. And it's not like, I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I was standing outside, like making sure nobody got towed.
So do you actually own the building?
My life.
You own the building?
Yeah, we own the building.
The own the building over there. Yeah, that's awesome.
And so that was originally like an apartment above, so the family could live there and have the restaurant on the bottom.
Well, no,
sort of.
When
I don't know. This building's been so many different things. I don't even know what it is.
When Austin's first started, well, I'll show my age here, honey. When Austin's first started, and Rocco owned the pharmacy. And he decided to buy this. They used to have the downstairs and the upstairs. So when Rocco bought this and turned it into a deli, they essentially moved upstairs. But there's a whole apartment up here as well.
Yeah.
Hey, Kat, when did Austin's go in there? In the 80s?
I want to say, yeah, it was like the 80s because I know my sister got her band jacket here, to which
remember they used to do some of the stuff. Yeah, that was like late 80s
and 90s because I know I have a Ridley marching band jacket, like a Letterman jacket.
Yes.
Is that what I want to say?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Yeah. From the 90s still in my closet. That
they were there a long time. Sisters. You have a very good forward facing because you're close right up on that corner there. So you got some good exposure there, and it's so busy along that stretch.
It is.
You know why?
I'm trying to think where on MacDade they're at.
So are you familiar with, and this is just a landmark, Roy Tweedy's Butcher Shop?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We're directly across the street.
Right by the shopping center, right up from the old shopping center.
We're directly across the street. Barnaby's used to be there.
Yeah, it's Barnaby's.
Before it was Barnaby's, it was
back in the day, $5 Wing Wednesday.
Oh my God, what the hell was the name of it?
Now the restaurant can't even buy wings for $5.
I'm
right.
Brain fart.
Now, do you cater parties?
It was the Shore Club. The Shore Club.
Oh, yes, it was. You know what? I was going to ask that same question. Hub just asked if you cater.
We do. We do cater. We do cater.
Because that's really lucrative.
Oh, yeah. Well, we actually just Delco the movie that just premiered.
He was on. He was on last month. He was on this podcast last month.
Chris is a sweetheart. We actually just catered Friday, Saturday, and Sunday there, along with a bunch of other local businesses. I know Phil and Jim's was there, Media State Street Pub.
That's awesome.
There was a couple other ones. So, like,
did you see the movie?
Yeah, we did. Well, we participated in the crowdfunding, so we were associate producers, if you will. I have a quick 7 seconds of fame in the beginning credits, to which I'll forward to you, Bay.
Okay.
So, Kat, give us a little quip. How was it? I'm looking forward to seeing it when we get it in some other venues.
We loved it. We loved it. I mean, I had a migraine on Friday, so I think I would have thoroughly enjoyed it a lot more if I wasn't like holding my head because my head was pounding. You know, my hair hurt at the time. I was getting my hair done every time she pulled my hair. It was like excruciating pain, and I'm not tender-headed. But no, it was a great movie. I loved it.
Trust me, you're very thick-headed.
I said tender, not I so would have paid to go and see the movie. Yeah, it was
That's
really
awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to him getting
an honor for us to be able to feed all the cast and everything like that. Like Roma Deli, they fed them while they were in production.
Okay.
And we fed the VIP events, and you know, to feed Brian O'Halloran, Brian Dunkelman, JJ Cohen, Brian Anthony Wilson, Leah, Chris, the cast, the crew, like it was an honor to be able to feed all of them.
That's so awesome.
That's awesome. Babe, what else you got? I know that head of yours is spinning with questions.
No, I wanted to ask Sean because he touched on it a little bit earlier. When he was talking about the rolls, he was saying, you know, that's what the old owner used. Why change it? Was there anything that you did like change? Like you said to yourself, all right, I don't like the way he does it. I want to do something my way.
Okay. So now you're opening up a whole nother can of worms. So I was afraid to change anything for the first year.
Okay.
I was like, everything's working. People are coming in, you know, to see the old owner and whatnot. And actually, things were changing before you even existed. Thank you. But anyhow, when I started, as I got my feet a little wet and started to learn the business, because, you know, I'm going from cutting lawns to cutting lunch meat and running an actual business with employees under you and trying to figure everything out. So I started switching some things around. I said, if we're going to make any changes, we're not going to lower any quality or lower the amount that people get, because that's what a lot of new business owners do. They'll either lower the quality, they'll raise the prices, or they'll do both. And you'll put yourself out of business in 2 seconds doing that. So I said, the first year we kept all prices the same. We kept every single product the same, didn't change a single thing for a year. Everything was going pretty smoothly, but I definitely saw, I mean, with working there too for a couple winters, I knew our biggest complaints. And the biggest thing was the lunch meat was too thick and just stupid stuff like that. So I jumped on that immediately and fixed that. It took me way too long to fix it. It took me a couple months to finally beat it into their heads, because for years they were used to cutting it however they want it, because, you know, but me, I don't care about just getting the job done. I want to get the job done the way the customer wants it done.
That's the difference.
If you get the lunch meat cut too thick and it doesn't taste as good, because it does taste different, you know, one thickness. It
does.
I hate that.
You get that maybe once or twice because you've been going there for so long. After like a third or fourth time, you're going to say, I'm going to find another place to go. You know, if they're not going to listen to your concerns multiple times, then they're going to find somewhere else to go. So anyhow, I started making some changes, and most of it was changing from a lower quality lunch meat to Dietz and Watson, a higher quality, which you know, is one of the top lunch meats around here. But I would change it from something, and it would cost me more money. But I'm figuring everything that I changed from a lower quality product to Dietz and Watson, I saw the sales have quadrupled or even higher on that specific item. I mean, like the hot cap and the pepper ham. I switched from a Hatfield. And I switched from Hatfield brand over to Dietz and Watson, and all of a sudden we were selling it like crazy. And I'm like, okay, there's a reason for that. So I just started doing things like that, introducing more products, different varieties.
Let me ask you real quick on that front. For your overhead and your cost control, was there a big difference in price point? And when you had to change the meats, like, because there's an adjustment there, right? When you go into a higher quality meat, and it's more cost for you. Overhead, and then, you know,
he would not change the prices during COVID, because I mean, let's say we actually.
All right, well, let's go back to his question.
Go ahead.
So yes, but I didn't do it all immediately because I didn't know. I was still getting my feet wet, and I was trying to figure out which ones were the best and whatnot. And so from customer feedback and, you know, sampling it out, say, hey, try this one and try this one. What do you think? You know, and whatnot. And I just went one product at a time. and switched it over. So now almost like probably about 80% of our products Dietz and Watson now. Anything that's not Dietz and Watson is because I find the quality of another brand better. Like, for example, our pepper turkey is not Dietz and Watson, because that's the only turkey. I'm not a turkey person, but that's the only turkey that I personally eat is the pepper turkey. And I found this one brand that I think makes the best pepper turkey, and I think it's better than Dietz and Watson's.
Wow.
What about your hard salami? You use Dietz and Watson for your hard salami?
We do not.
That's what I thought. I'm a
Well,
lunch meat.
So the Dietz and Watson's, their salamis, I'm not a big fan of either.
Me neither.
So their Genoa, no, we use Lidl,
Okay.
we want to say. The hard salami, that is a good question. It's a brand that's like related to that brand. I don't remember exactly what it's called.
I always noticed I did not like their salami.
Margarita.
What was that?
I said for our pepperonis, we use margarita.
Yeah, I like margarita.
Yeah, margarita.
They make a decent hard salami too. It's funny that I knew you were going to say that you use Dietz and Watson for your salamis because I do not like their salami meat. I have a disabled son.
I wasn't that big fan when I tried it. I had to get some in a pinch once, and I was like, no.
I have a disabled son. He's nonverbal. He has autism, and he eats like 2 hoagies a day. He's a sandwich guy. One for breakfast. It's like his appetizer. He's a big eater. but I can tell what he likes and doesn't like, and he's nonverbal. So he always tells you, like, especially with the salamis and stuff like that. Like you can always tell on what's the better quality meats.
I actually have an autistic son as well, and when you come in, I have a shirt for you, and it's Roma Deli, and it's in the puzzle pieces. There's puzzle pieces. It's like
look at that! Look at that! Isn't that phenomenal?
There's puzzle pieces inside. Oh well, I mean, I don't know if you can see it.
There we go. We can see a little better there. Oh yeah.
So that's my son's initial with the puzzle pieces in it. So that's where I got the idea. So it has Roma Deli, but it's puzzle pieces inside.
So my son's going to be 18 in another week. 6'1". I'm 5'6". He's 6'1", 190. He's a big kid, and he loves lunch meat. Oh, he's a big boy.
$5 of each of the autism shirts that are sold goes to a local little boy whose name is Jake, and his family, Jake's Warriors. They do a community event, self-funded.
Wow.
Self-funded every year for the community.
It's wild. Yeah, and unfortunately, that community is a bit underserved. It's expanding. There's a lot of people on the spectrum. It's great that you do that. Yeah, I'm going to try to get down there and meet you guys in the coming weeks. I'll stop down one day. Hub, what do you got?
Have you kept the shelf space the same way they describe it online? You got
not at all.
So
hot peppers and olive oils when you walk in on the shelves behind the counter. Is that right?
I mean,
we still have that, but as far as retail shelving, so Kmart, which was
when they went out of business.
Yeah, so they went out of business about 6 months after I took over. So I got in with one of the liquidators, and him and his wife were liquidating. I went to the Drexel Hill, the Westchester, and the Glen Olden location. I bought every single refrigerator that they had. I bought 4 rows of shelving that was like 24 foot of shelving. Most of the stuff's still in storage too, but I installed I knocked down a wall that the old owner was actually using as a storage soda room, and also his office. And my dad came in, and my dad's got a bunch of creative, great ideas, and he can build a house up, which is, I already said he's doing.
Dad's MacGyver.
He knows everything. And he's like, this wall is a waste of space. He said, we could tear this down, and that's more store space for you. I said, okay. So we tore the wall down, threw some new tile on the floor, make it all look nice. And when Kmart went out of business, I bought all their fridges for a 3-door fridge, True, which is top of the brand.
Yes.
A 3-door True fridge today goes for anywhere from like $9 to $12 grand plus. I got them for $600 a piece.
Wow.
So we installed a whole new fridge section, which was we were able to carry a lot more product. The old owner had a problem around like the holidays when we'd need a lot more fridge space. He would often have to run to the restaurant store, or we would run out of products and whatnot. Now we don't have to worry about that quite as much. And as far as the shelving, so when he was here, he had about 5 to 7 chairs set up for customers to sit on. And then he had 2 little shelving racks. Well, we kind of got rid of all the chairs. We just kept 1 chair now for customers. If there's an elderly person in the store, they can sit down and wait. I mean, eventually I want to get some more seating back in, but
he did put up
so
2 aisles of shelves.
Yeah.
One like retail, and then one that holds like our bread, our overflow cookies. We carry Taft Treats, which is a Delco-based company, family company. Fat Cow Jerky, which we were the first retail location to carry Fat Cow Jerky, and that's amazing. So we do have, it's almost like a convenience store, grab and go, bodega, they call it in Philly. So we have retail stuff on the shelves, from Pop-Tarts to gravy, tuna, sauce,
And once our kitchen's installed, I want to put some picnic tables outside, some seating inside.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Over it with the seating inside, but
That's awesome.
it's going to happen regardless.
So,
all right, Hub, one more question.
Well, see, the thing is if you cater parties, I'm sure, like you were saying, that's very lucrative. And do you have, when you have the party trays, let's say on holidays, do you have to order those in advance, or can they come in and pick up party trays?
So he's the type of person where if it's 8:05 and we close at 8:00 and there's a customer outside that wants a pound of cheese and a pound of ham, and we still have slicers open at 8:00 because we're not closing the slicers down until 8:00. So 5 after 8, there's still a slicer open. We're going to let that customer come in. We're going to let them get their pound of ham and pound of cheese. As long as we have the product, we had, I would say, about 15 to 23 orders come in Christmas Eve, and we absolutely accommodated it.
Wow.
And a lot of it is like, like a roast beef special, which is 3 pounds of roast beef, a can of au jus gravy, and 20 club rolls. So we always ordered 20 club rolls or extra club rolls to accommodate those people. And then if we got rid of the rolls at the end of the night, they were going to another good cause, because they're going to, a food bank or a church that's feeding the homeless people, things of that nature.
That's so awesome to hear, because you hear so many businesses that just throw it out at the end of the night. I love that. That's great for you guys.
So to answer the question that Hub asked, so typically we want you to order in advance. We say that you have to order in advance, just because ordering rolls is the most difficult part of the business besides dealing with employees. But as far as product wise, ordering rolls is the worst part. It's you can never get it right. You either have too much or too little. So we almost always have too many rolls because it's getting used one way or another. Doesn't matter. So I take walk-in orders. I take whatever. If you are a walk-in order for a hoagie tray and we are just slammed to the point where I don't have time to do it, I can't guarantee it. If you order ahead of time, it's guaranteed. If you don't, if I can, I can. If I can't, I can't.
You may wait a half hour, 40 minutes because.
But most of the time, I can. Like I had an owner of a local bar here. He came in one day. It was an Eagles Sunday game day. We were rocking and rolling, and he comes in. He says, "Yeah, I'm going to need 3 hoagie trays. I'll be back in like a half hour for them." Yeah, typically that's not happening anywhere. Not happening anywhere. And I said to him, I was like, his name's Frank. I was like, Frank, I got you, because I just scheduled myself for off the clock around that time. So I was like, I'll just drop what I'm doing. The staff, there's enough staff to run the store, and I'll make the trays, whatever. So he came back half hour later. They were ready to go. I said, here you go.
That's awesome.
People remember that. I get
accommodate.
If I'm able to do it, I'm doing it.
Yep, exactly.
I don't want to turn anything or anyone down.
It's like a living room discussion over here. I have one last cat. From our conversation and some of your thought process, did you have experience in the business sector, in delis in the past before you?
So I did work at a deli in Lansdowne. I worked at catering when I was younger.
Okay.
I was also a server
too.
for many years at a local restaurant. So did I have deli experience? Very, very little. But I'm a people person. Like, I'm a social butterfly. In Spanish, it's called mariposa. I talk a lot. I like to engage with the customers. I like
In
to.
my language is, come on, I want to go home. You've been talking for a half hour.
Yeah. You know what? Let me tell you what. She sounds like a wonderful asset and a great partner in business for you.
Yeah.
As much as a life partner. It seems like a really good fit. And the way you talk, and look how we talk for an hour over here. The family aspect of the business, just in the conversation, that's why you're successful, right? You
Well, people
stop and you
ask
make
us, like,
trade.
you're married and you work together. How does that work? And it's simple. We're in it together. So, we'll have like, okay, you're irritating me. Or if we're having like a tiff, we bring each other to the back, whether it's him giving me an attitude or me giving him an attitude. We'll pull each other into the back and we'll talk it out. And then it's like nothing ever happened, because at the end of the day, we're working together. We go home together. We have our 2 fur kids. We have my 2 children, plus my mom lives with us. So,
What's 3 fur kids now?
So we have 2 dogs and a cat. At the end of the day, it's us together. Like I've had his back since day one, and he knows that. He knows that. Like, I was working at my job, working overtime at Jefferson, and I would come home and he was working 110 to 120 hours a week during COVID, because he was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, going down the Jetro because he couldn't keep anything in the store. Everything was flying off the shelves every day. So like I would come in and I'd be like, go ahead, go home.
The midst of everything, when you couldn't hire anybody because they were getting paid more to sit at home and not work than to go into work. So why would they come into work?
Right.
That's a whole other debate. I'm not going to talk about that. But
that's my final question.
I don't agree with how they set that off. But anyhow,
all right, Bay, throw that final question out there. And
so, and you said earlier when you talked about you were cutting lines and you couldn't find good people to work for you, or they would come give you two good weeks and then they'd be gone, and then you take on this bigger business where you need employees, you need people to depend on. Did that scare you? And do you have a lot of trouble keeping employees, or have you had like long-term employees that you can depend on?
Okay, that's a good question. So what scared me the most about taking over was because I knew all the talk of all the states going to minimum wage of $15 an hour. And that was the biggest thing. At that time, we were starting people with no experience that are in high school at $8 an hour.
Yeah.
And I was kind of scared because I'm like, New Jersey just passed it, that in X amount of years, it's going to get brought up slowly each year to $15 an hour. And I think Delaware was talking about it at the time, and New York and whatnot. And when it passes in one state, then it goes to the next, and it kind of just goes across the whole country.
Sure.
And not that I don't want people to make more money an hour, but me personally, I don't think that's solving any economic problems. But that's another debate. I see it now. Everyone's making $15 plus an hour and still only able to afford the same of what they could have minimum wage before, where it just affects us minimum people.
Yeah.
But I didn't know anything back then, so I probably still don't know anything now. But so I was kind of scared about that. Then I was like, well, worst case scenario, we'll just cut down on staffing size. We'll have to raise prices. We'll have to do whatever we have to do. And it's come to work out. It's been all right. I mean, it's definitely a struggle with wages going up. I mean, I had to raise prices. I had to pass on a credit card processing fee to customers.
Right.
And people complain about it, but it's like the money that I'm saving from the credit card processing fees, I put more than double that into people's salaries.
Yes.
So it's coming out of my pocket at the end of the day. I'm making less than some of my own staff as the owner.
But we do pride ourselves on that we don't have a high turnover rate of employees.
Yeah, so I have people that have been here 4 years,
Awesome.
almost the entire time I've owned the place.
But you also own the building too,
Yes.
Correct.
which in the long term, that's going to be a huge plus, as Dan would know.
Yeah, so that's
Yes.
that's the biggest thing is I'm paying the mortgage every month.
Yeah. And it's an asset that you own, and it just increases because
yeah,
the value of your
appreciates the
location.
value. Yep.
Yeah,
Especially a building like that with multiple purposes that can be used for.
Yeah,
Right.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And then plus the location, like it's right on MacDade Boulevard, a very
It's
busy.
excellent location.
Yeah,
It really is a great location where you're at.
A little MacDade Boulevard story, real quick. Back in my young days, I bought a pizza shop at 18 in Upper Darby, Mr. Pizza, and the first thing I did after I bought the pizza shop was 2 months later, I went and bought myself a Corvette. Every night after I closed, I would leave that store and I would just drive up and down MacDade Boulevard to clear my head after a day of working in that pizza shop.
And we got to get
Even
on that.
middle
side.
of winter, I would take the tops off. I didn't care. I just needed to clear my head. So that's always my memory of MacDade Boulevard.
Who doesn't like cruising and jamming
There you
Especially
go.
on a nice Corvette.
with the tops down?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
How long did you have that
Well-
Corvette for?
I had it for like 2 years. Yeah.
Was it
It was
red?
too much money, and he sold it.
No, I lost the pizza shop and I had to sell.
Yes.
It
And
was
listen,
blue.
I know we're a little over our hour here. I can't. I could go on for another hour. I got questions about slicers and everything else.
I've got about
Because, like I
30
said,
slicers in here.
we went. Oh my god, we went to lunch truck business. It scared the shit out of me when we had to clean the slicer. I hate to clean the damn slicer.
Well, they're a lot different than they are now.
Oh, they are.
I got
They
slicers from
were a
the
lot
60s. I got slicers from the 80s, 90s.
Hoarder.
My grandfather's slicer
Yeah, I'm
was
like a
probably from
hoarder
the
now.
'60s, the old school slicers.
He's
Listen,
got,
we got to have you back on, even if
Yeah,
it's
this has been awesome.
abbreviated. It's been awesome. I had a blast because I love the whole facet of the delis and I know how competitive and how hard it is to run that business. You two, it's been fun. I mean, it's just been a lot of fun. I'm coming in there. I'm going to stop and see his. I'm going to definitely stop in and get some. I'm going to remind me, Kat, when I'm in. I want to get that jerky you mentioned. My son loves jerky,
the
so I'm
fat
definitely
cow
grabbing that
jerky.
jerky when I'm in.
the bet. I can't even eat other jerky now because I'm like, I just fall back to fat gal jerky. Like we literally got it. I put it up on my personal page and I shared that to the deli page. And the next day he was like, hey, Roma, let's get fat cow in there. And I even said to him before that even happened that night.
That's
I was like,
awesome.
we got to get this thing in here. I was like, because I've only ever seen it available online. I haven't seen it available anywhere. And so I found it because of Delco Live, who does the podcasts. And so I ordered it. Next week, we had it in the store for retail sale, and we're the first retail location to have it.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a jerky connoisseur. I was making my own back, quite a few years ago. And I've tried pretty much every store-bought jerky out there. It is probably the best store-bought. It's not probably. It is the best store-bought jerky that I've personally tasted so far.
And he would be a
And
good
even
podcast,
with fat cow jerky, if I see a different brand I haven't seen before, I'm still buying a bag to try it.
but he would even be a good podcast story for you guys because he's a Delco native and his story is just it's like a Delco dream come true.
Really? Okay.
Yep, even though he moved to Monco. No, Chesco.
All right, I'm writing that
Yes,
down.
yes. We're
So
at
you
Manchester
you
County.
guys need
I
to
was
open a
glitching, so I
second
lost you for a
location.
little bit on my.
Roma
Any-
Deli too.
They need to open Roma Deli too in Nashville because
I was just
Nashville don't have a
Listen,
fucking clue.
no, get the heck out of here. We need it in Coachville. Forget Nashville. We need it close out here in Coachville.
How about you run one?
All right,
in
listen.
Coachville for us? You
Tell
run
us
one
where
over
we
in
can.
I got family in Nashville.
You
Where?
know what?
Oh God, I don't know where.
I
Somewhere
think
in
she's
Nashville.
like in Nashville.
Yeah, she's one of the. She's in with the radio stuff. Sarah, what's her last name now? She got married.
Yeah.
Bratcher. Is it Bratcher?
Yeah, Bratcher.
Well,
Her husband's a mechanic on. He works on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll send you their info.
We're going
Yeah.
to visit you when we go to
Come
visit.
visit, yeah.
Unlike you when you visited PA.
When I was
Yes,
there in
he doesn't
October,
stop.
I was in
He's
and
too
out.
good for us, Kat. He's too good for everybody.
I yelled at him. I was like,
He's
you don't stop by.
He comes in as Chubby Dudley and he runs around and he leaves us and he just doesn't see anybody, doesn't see me.
I'll tell you, when I came in,
we're all going to go to Texas and visit Hub too. Get some
There you go.
Hub's, hey, listen, Hub's got a place so we could all stay out there.
Oh,
But
good.
Yeah.
and a pool.
And a pool.
I didn't know he had
All
a
right, let's
pool.
do it.
Yeah.
So
Y'all come on down.
Tell us where we can find your social media, your location, everything you want people to know. Our podcast has been doing great. We've been doing like 500 to 1,000 views a month. It's been excellent. So
That's
tell
great.
all my audience where they can find you.
So I do the socials along with my girlfriend Brittany from Be the Joy Foundation. So it's Roma Deli Delco, right? Oh my gosh, now I'm questioning my
Come
own.
on, Kat, you're as bad
Oh
as
my
me.
goodness. Well, our Facebook is Roma Deli, and then our Instagram is
It's like Roma Deli 610.
Roma Deli Delco.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep. We changed it. That's why I was like, which one is it? Roma Deli Delco.
That's awesome. Listen, I cannot thank you enough. I know the guys
thank you,
enjoyed
Thanks
it.
for having us.
It was a lot of fun. Bay, thanks for putting it together. I'm
Thank
going to
you,
see you guys
Bay.
within a week. I'm coming in there. We're going to do some
Bye, Hub.
selfies and
Bye.
push out the social media. Thank you for coming on and appreciate it.
Have
Thanks,
a good
guys.
night, fellas.
Thanks for having us.
You
Nice
too.
meeting
Take
you
care.
guys.
Bye.
Take care.
All right, everybody, there they go.
Yo,
The
real
garlic.
quick before
How
we wrap, I
amazing
know
were
we're
they?
running. Well, Hub loves it. We're running way long. She's all, I mean, including him, but she's a personality. I mean,
Yeah,
she's good.
Yeah.
And see how personalized they make it. You know, and Hub asked some great questions there. Some of the stuff they do,
Thank you.
they make it very personalized. And that's why they do good. You know how much competition he's got within 2 blocks of him with delis and Wawa and Roy Tweedies and everybody else up there? I mean, he's got a shit ton of competition, and that they're in a very good spot. But people don't know how hard it is to compete down there, and how picky and pain in the ass everybody is down there. They're running a successful business, and that's through hard work and personalized service.
I would love to be a fly on the wall to when you have those problem customers when they leave.
Oh, you know what's funny? The way she said it, we talk about them after they leave because we do. You just say, boy, what a pain in the ass. But you know how, and we're from Delco. It's a very interesting spot with a lot of eclectic people, and there's a lot of personalities, a lot of different types of people that come in, and they're along that corridor where the bus runs, and it's very busy. It's a challenge, and they've done a lot of things to kind of like me. You never know year to year, trying to help them be successful. I enjoyed the heck out of it. The great
they
people.
were awesome.
And it was fun because it was the same thing we do. It was a humans over houses approach. And you see kind of the way they talk and what they do and how they run their business. Again, we're going to wrap up. This is what we do here. We're bringing other guests on to expand our sphere, right? Get people to know NextHome Brandywine and who we are, and introduce and learn about other local businesses. And Bay, you've been doing a great job of getting some awesome guests. Our views are exploding across all the platforms. And it's just because, and like Hub said, you get better as you go with the podcast, and the guests have been awesome, and they lent some great, we're like 15 minutes over because they were I could have went on for another hour with those two.
Absolutely.
Just fabulous. All right, Bay, get us out of here. We're going to get another guest on here in February. We got some good people we're looking to bring on and line up. I know we want to get Carl on one of these months, and we got a couple other good guests we're looking at.
Absolutely. And everybody, don't forget, check them out. Go there, get some damn good sandwiches.
I'm going.
Roma Deli, MacDade Blvd, and also too, for all of your real estate needs, don't ever forget NextHome Brandywine. They will cover you anywhere throughout Philadelphia to York to Reading to Allentown, and guess what? Through the whole country, because that man has all the connections anywhere you need to be, even Nashville for Roma Deli too.
We got the little realtor in Nashville. We got some good connections down there as well.
You know what? We just saw the other day in my complex, one of the houses behind me for sale by NextHome.
Yep, they got some nice offices right down there around you. So listen, I appreciate everybody, and we will talk to everybody next month.
Absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Good night. Thank you, Hub.
Good night.